Babe, have you been noticing how the same lessons just keep showing up? Different people, same story. It's not bad luck, it's your shadow. And if you want to learn more about how to have your shadow work with you instead of against you, you're in luck. That is why I created Shadow Work Decoded, a 5-day guided journey to help you uncover the hidden patterns holding you back in love, work, and self-worth, and finally transform them from the inside out. Each day, you'll get short audios from me, journal prompts, and rituals that make deep healing easy and accessible. And dare I say, fun? Go to cosmicrx.com/shadowwork or tap the link in the show notes to start today. Because once you decode your shadow, you unlock your true magnificent manifesting power. This week, the sky is giving cosmic plot twist energy. As always, this is the retrograde season, so would we expect anything less? But with a little maybe sexy side of say less, feel more, which I know is something you are radically good at because you are a cosmic bad bitch with a good heart if you are here listening to this. And on that note, welcome to Cosmic RX Radio, a podcast that gives you real-life tools of spiritual empowerment and pure hype. I'm your host and intuitive guide, MADI Murphy. I'll be serving up your weekly energy readings, cosmic boss interviews, and astro inspiration. Are you ready to love yourself more, manifest your dream life, and own your magic? Let's jump in. Welcome, my friends, my lunar lovers, my witchy weirdos, modern mystics. Let's get into it, right? Welcome to today's episode. I'm your host, I'm your guide, MADI Murphy. I'm your cosmic consultant. I am your messy metaphysician, just like your best friend on this wild ride of being a human. And we're going to get into what the planets really are inviting us, guiding us to align with this week. Because sometimes just being a human, the WTF of it all is so much. And I just want to remind you, if you're here, then that means you're already cosmically attuned. That means you're already a step in the right direction. And I am going to just interpret how I think the stars are helping remind you of your power, of your awesomeness, of your magic, and how we can move with more intention instead of frustration, to let our intuition lead us instead of influence, to let self-love guide us instead of self-loathing. And yeah, can we even be guided by some pleasure instead of pressure? Imagine that. So this week, we're going to be talking about Mercury. It's officially retrograde when this podcast comes out. Mercury has started moonwalking through Sagittarius. What does this mean for you? And we're going to talk about another retrograde that enters the party, good old Jupiter this week. So let's take a deep breath. Let's unclench our jaws. Let's unclench our butts a little bit together and just trust that the most important thing for you to do right now is just be here now. There is so much magic waiting in even the messiest of moments, so we can just slow down, soften, and listen. So I'm going to take my own advice for that this week too. Okay, before I get into the retrogrades, before I get into the moon report, just quick Virgo announcements, Virgo housekeeping. November 23rd, I saw some of you signed up. I am so pumped. We are doing Rituals for the Revolution, baby, in Brooklyn. Yeah, in Mamdani City, baby, in the beating heart of what I hope is the revolution in terms of what we can expect moving forward, right? We saw an amazing, just our first little bit of hope core this past week in the news with these most recent elections. And of course, New York was the heart of that. So what's a better place to gather? My friend, Amanda Baudier, who's an amazing spiritual mentor, grounded, real AF, and really walks the freaking talk. We're going to be doing an afternoon ritual. Oh my God, an afternoon workshop that's 90 minutes. And we're going to be teaching you not only how to get involved right now at a grassroots level in terms of activism, but also rituals for yourself to keep your energy clean, clear, and under control. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some light, hexing the patriarchy, how we can use astrological magic and intention to really weave and manifest, just like we manifest on this singular level. We can manifest in the collective consciousness right now. And also, I just put together the sickest goodie bags. Yeah, everyone who comes gets a copy of my book, gets a bedazzled whistle, an ice whistle, if you will, and some other really amazing things. A Bad Bitch lighter might be included. Anyway, join us for ritual, community, and just revolutionary togetherness and tenderness. That's 11/23 if you're in the New York area. And then January 9th, the Cosmic Call at Kripalu. This is really a way to start the new year in alignment with your divine assignment to kind of clear out the clutter, turn down the noise, and get really armored up, get really energized for the year ahead in terms of your purpose, an astrological map of who you are and the big dates for you for the year. But again, we're going to be doing rituals. We're going to be having dress up. We're going to have play. If you've been feeling blocked creatively, if you've been feeling like you're ready to lead, but having wounds around visibility, if you're just ready for in-person community with people who get it, then come join. I know some of the people coming, and it is an elitely magical crew joining already. So come on down for a weekend full of just purpose, pleasure, power, and all that good stuff. And then last but definitely not least, our shadow work mini course is available now. This is for you if you have been feeling like the same lessons keep showing up in new disguises. If you feel like you're just really blocked on manifesting, if you feel like you can't get out of your own way, there's been lots of self-sabotage happening, or you just feel numb or disconnected and you can't figure out why, I'm going to invite you to do this. It's a 5-day guided journey with me, with audios, journal prompts, rituals. We bring astrology into it. This is the season. This is quite literally the time to integrate your shadow, which means bringing back your power, which means owning more of your magnetism, which means becoming unfuckwithable. I owe my whole goddamn life to shadow work, and I've been reflecting on that a lot lately. And we wanted to do this as a really affordable, accessible course. It's $33. Here we give away a lot of stuff. We like to keep things cheap. We're here to democratize magic. So check that out if you're interested. Now let's get into the moon report. Who wants to talk about the moon? Okay, so I do. I had the pleasure of having a chat with a very amazing, very talented young businessman who does digital marketing. Shout out to Kamar if you're listening, about some projects here. And he's not only very smart and strategic when it comes to marketing, but he is spiritually inclined. And so he was listening to the podcast and he was like, that's so cool. I never knew about the moon or really the kind of the cosmic side of some of the more spiritual practices. And I just want to remind everyone that if you're here, whether maybe you've been here since day one of the podcast or with us since 2020, or maybe you just stumbled upon this or a friend sent it to you, I just want to really remind everyone the moon is one of the most powerful guides that we have on our journey. Everything in the planets is the planetary energy affects us on Earth, right? As above, so below. What is happening in the planets? It's not dictating, it's not telling us, who to be or what to do, but there's a mirroring. We can understand ourselves better through the planetary poetry that's happening and help us articulate our inner world better, understand our own unique cycles, phases, our superpowers, our obstacles. It's really like another language that we could speak. And that language can become everything from a playbook to, like I said, poetry, to just doing the deepest introspection of all time, or literally helping you plan your week. That's why I love the practical and the magic of it all. And the moon is the gateway to that. And I love it because the moon is really the luminary that all of us, no matter how little or how much we study astrology, right? We always can look outside and say, look at the moon. Last night, the Taurus moon was beaming over New York City. And I heard so many people be like, look at the moon, look at the moon. And obviously we're all trying to take photos and videos to no avail because she does not like to be captured like that. But the moon is our gateway. And the moon in astrology is really symbolic of our inner world and that inner connection we have to something much bigger than ourselves, but also deeper within ourselves than we might always tap into. So our feelings, our needs, our creative side, our inner child, our intuition, right? She is looking at the moon is our cosmic umbilical cord, remembering that we come from something much bigger than, paying bills, sitting in traffic and dying. So when I just wanted to get that little spiel, the moon affects, right? The moon affects the tides. The moon affects animals. My dog was going berserk under the full moon this week. And so we are 3/4 water. So of course we're going to feel the water, which we know water equals our emotional selves. Our water is going to be affected by the moon. So the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. And in this moon report, I like to really break down what sign is the moon going to be in and how can we use that, again, as above, so below, as a reflection tool, as an anchoring point, as a little cosmic context to what we might be feeling. Because when we know what we're going to be feeling and we can put words to it, when we know better, we can do better, right? When we know what we're feeling, we can know what we need for healing. We can know what may be revealing. We can just know how to better tend to ourselves, which means we can meet the moment and also show up for those around us, right? With so much more fullness, so much more clarity. So that was just a little spiel because we've been doing this podcast for a minute, and I just think it's always good to just remind ourselves, why do we talk about this? Why does MADI do the moon weather before the planetary news on this little kooky as our astrological anchor, our news weather woman of the cosmic realms? So we move into on Monday, the day this podcast comes out, we're in a Cancer moon until 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we do want to think about, right, nourishing our nervous system, right? Cooking comfort food, washing your sheets, oh my God, going to bed in a clean, warm bed is very Cancer moon self-care. Call someone who feels like home. But just know on Cancer moon days, sometimes we can be more tender, we can be more sensitive. Big crowds or busy days can feel a little harder. And we might just have to tune into our inner child or just a part of us that just needs a little extra love on those days. And we're going to look out for sometimes Cancer moons can make us feel tender and then can lead to being passive aggressive, like the crab, Cancer of the crab, walk side to side. I just encourage you on the Cancer moon days, just to be direct about your needs. It's okay, right? The right people can handle that. Then we go into a Leo moon, right? The moon shifts into Leo, and that's going to be on Tuesday, November 11th, or Monday evening, and Tuesday into November 12th afternoon, Leo moon. So Leo moon, when Luna shifts there, we want to think about playing, performing, honoring what makes you special, honoring, what makes you sparkle, like posting the damn selfie. And so I want you to think about on those days, like November 11th to the 12th, how can we lead with joy, right? How can we choose play? How can we choose that feeling of, oh, I get to do this versus I have to do this? How can we create for fun? One of my favorite things about being a mom of 2 under 2, actually, at the time of this recording, little Jordy will be turning 2 on the 10th, and thus concluding my 2 under 2 chapter. But my Irish twin mama, my toddler mama, baby mama phase right now, one of the best parts about it is play, right? It's like playing dress up, coloring, creating, just going to a park and just really slowing down and seeing, again, all of nature. And just like the cosmos are teaching us so much, nature is teaching us so much. And the playfulness in that, and, making fun music and having dance parties and being silly. Having children is such an invitation to do that. But under Leo moon days, we all get to do that, right? My son freaks out when he sees any truck, not even a cool truck, just literally a generic truck loading a Baldor food truck in the city. And he's like, truck, beep, beep. And I'm like, oh yeah, life is so cool. There's just trucks everywhere. And so on Leo moon day, can you shift into that feeling of awe and wonder for life again? Can you do something that helps you create for fun? Now, on Leo moon days, we're not going to look into that place of chasing, someone's validation or jumping into drama triangles. Definitely going to avoid that. And, on Thursday, the 13th into November 15th, we have a Virgo moon until Saturday morning. So let's end the week strong with that Virgo moon energy. Let's edit our routines, hydrate, let's tidy your spaces. Let's prepare for a great weekend. Let's close out some tabs. I love just the Virgo energy. One little, upgrade to the routine or clearing out something that's just weighing on you, that's cluttering up the mind. And then I just encourage you to avoid during those days micromanaging, overthinking, kind of getting caught in that analysis paralysis, that paralysis of perfection, right? We want to think about like getting it going. Done is better than perfect. Progress over perfection. Like moving, you can't really wait till you're ready because you have to start before you're ready to learn along the way. So I just encourage you to tuck that away in your mind on those days. And then Saturday to Sunday, we have a beautiful Libra moon weekend. I love a Libra moon weekend. Sexy, sexy Scorpio sun, Libra moon. It's like we're restoring balance and beauty. We're connecting with your people. We're freaking flirting with life, honey. Like the universe is literally trying to flirt with you. It's like, hello. Like, I'm like, hello, are you reading these messages? Like the universe is flirting with you, and flirt back a little bit. So let's avoid Libra moon days can bring up like big people pleasing things, waffling, avoiding conversations, avoiding just like even saying what you want. And I just love on a Libra moon day, the invitation of like practice, just even like with something as simple as going out to dinner, right? It's the weekend or our plans. Like if you have an idea of something you want to do, say it. Even if you don't know, just practice being decisive, practice taking up space with that. You'll always feel good. Okay. So let's go into planetary planning. And this is where I'm going to break down what are the biggest planetary movements of the week? What do they mean for us? What do we need to know about them in real life terms? And then, of course, just some tools, some actionable steps, rituals, practices as prescribed by the planets for you in digestible doses, just to make this whole, I don't know, humanine thing a little less hard. Okay, so as a reminder, we are in Mercury retrograde, right? In Sag, November 9th to the 29th. I talked about this a little bit last week. Mercury retrograde happens 4 times a year. It's not to punish us. I want to be abundantly clear on that. Mercury is just a very fast moving planet, which makes sense because what Mercury correlates with in astrology, as you know, as it relates to us in the human experience, is technology, media, communications, thoughts. These are things that all move incredibly fast. I mean, of course, cars and trains and planes move fast. Of course, technology moves fast, but nothing moves faster than your brain. You are the original supercomputer. You are the original AI. Like if I say to you right now, blue duck, you thought of a blue duck, right? You can change your mind quicker than the wind, quicker than anything, which is so cool. But also it's like the universe almost knows, has a built-in mechanism, a mystical mechanism, if you will, to give us an invitation to slow down, to recalibrate, right? That's why we focus on these words during Mercury retrograde. We move really fast, and that has never been more true than this moment in time. No one can deny that. So when we have a Mercury retrograde, that's why we really want to do the redo, rethink, review, right? Remember, remind, rearrange, reorganize, especially looking back over the past 4 months. Was there a project that you started that you're ready to return to? Is there a conversation that you started to have that didn't fully flesh out that you can revisit? Is there just something that you want to reconnect with in terms of a ritual, a health habit, something that you do for yourself, a self-care practice? It's just life moves fast. And I actually love Mercury retrograde, even though it does, the shadow comes from my life always. I can't even get into it here. There's been so many kooky moments, but I see how, of course, I lost my phone. Of course, I lost my AirPod. Of course, my internet wasn't working because the universe is like, slow down, girl, slow down. You're moving fast. What's that song, right? Like, come on, like get back in your body, get back in the moment. Maybe you don't need all these proverbial open tabs of life right now. Let's see what we can close out. And some of that word is just gonna be like circling back and realizing, okay, the thing isn't for me. I can be down with that. So it feels really good to use this time as like catch up time, closure time. And I do want to point out that like Mercury retrograde and Sag, the unique things for this, I talked about it last week. I really want us to be very slow, very careful when it comes to texting, group chats. Sag is like, listen, I have a Mars in Sag. I have a Sag stellium. So I'm reading myself for filth here right along. Any of my Sages, like we just get excited and we talk and we talk. And it's why I literally like talk all day for a living. Raise your hand if you were told,
talks too much in class, talks excessively, I think was on my report cards. And now you are a podcaster. It all makes sense. But the Sag energy talks, which is great. We're excited, we're engaged, we're curious. But sometimes that Sag energy can be like foot in mouth. And combine that with Mercury retrograde, I want us to be careful that we're not complaining about our boss and then emailing that to the boss, right? Make sure we're not talking smack on someone who might be irritating us and dropping it in the wrong group chat, right? We're not dropping a new bad bitch sexy thirst trap in like the in-law group family chat for Thanksgiving, right? Like, let's just slow down a little bit. And the same goes with in-person communications. When Mercury is retrograde, I've seen it time and time again, communications just get scrambled. They get wonky. People are not meaning what they saying what they meaning. We're not picking up on the connection is off. The Wi-Fi connection is off. It is weak. So in general, it might not be the best time to have the most like intense, thoughtful conversations. Again, unless it's a revisiting of something you've already given a first go, a first pass to. And it also just might not be the time to like be running your mouth on something. I love a Mercury retrograde, an invitation to sit and be quiet and to listen. Okay. And then I talked about this in the 2025 webinars just a year ago. I basically did this. It was like beginning of December. And I said, be careful. The last retrograde of the year is really going to affect us. It's the holiday season. We're traveling, whether we're talking about, it's going to affect us, right? Mercury rules travel, technology, communication. So it's like, whether that's your gifts you're ordering or traveling to see family, things are going to be wonky. And now here we are, end of 2025, in the land of like no air traffic controllers. Government is still shut down at the time of this recording. Tariffs, just so many issues. Yeah, the litany, it goes on and on. So I'm just going to encourage us. First of all, it's a really good invitation with Mercury retrograde and Sag just here to shop small and shop local, because like your packages are going to get lost anyway. We're going to be paying like crazy tariffs. And again, if you have a small business you love and you want to support them, of course, do it. And they're like abroad. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that it's like the universe is telling us in really clear, no uncertain terms that this is the time to do this. And also the travel. If you have to travel by airplane, especially just during this time, I want you to leave yourself so much time in another airport. I want you to take deep breaths. I want you to like have a killer playlist or audiobook, maybe my audiobook, shameless plug, in the Cosmic Zone, narrated by moi, or just something, because it's going to be hectic. I think at the time of this recording, I saw some headline where they were going to like possibly shut down planes. Can they even do that? But yeah, right? Like, so I don't have to tell you, but travel, tech, communication plans in general are going to be wobbly. So I want you to build in buffers. I want you to have backups. I also want you to have like discernment of like, just have your wits about you. Okay. So we're pausing before we're posting or speaking. We're reviewing. Also, in the more spiritual invitation under this retrograde is to review like beliefs, stories, worldviews that you have to live by. Edit what no longer fits. I remember Mercury and Sag last year retrograde. I've been doing this for a while, but last year I really was like, I really want to redefine what motherhood looks like and feels like based off what I've seen it. Right? I had an amazing first year of motherhood with Jordy, but this time last year I was like, another baby's coming and it's going to be harder maybe to hold that pose of how I want to show up authentically in motherhood as myself, as vibrant, as full, as, being all these things and having like a sexy motherhood and all these things that I desired. And it was important for me. I really did a lot of retooling, rewriting, rethinking, finding expanders around me who were living that path, and just knowing that like no one's story is mine. I get to write it and rewrite it at any moment. So for you, with Mercury retrograde in Sag, it is a time to think about those things, right? Beliefs, stories. Similarly, it's a great time to revisit like your visions for the year, your vision board, your visions for your higher, ideals of your life. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And check in with that and see like, are those things still aligned that I was dreaming of? Are there new dreams? Can I dream even bigger? This is a great time to do that. And then on a very practical, actionable, like in my book, for every archetype, I do talk about a mindset practice a embodiment practice and a spiritual practice. And so for an embodiment practice for Mercury Sag retrograde would really be to like ground all this fire with movement. Sag likes to move, okay? And like outdoor time, doing things, going to different neighborhoods, different parks. If you can do a little like mini like daycation to somewhere else, it might really clear the brain in a cool way, okay? So Mercury retrograde in Sag, and I'm just cracking up because I gave birth to two Mercury and Sages, one retrograde, one direct. Jordy and Santino, and these boys, they are just so chatty. My father-in-law, before he passed, would call Jordy, and Jordy was young. He was like 2 months at this stage. My father-in-law would call him chiacchierone. Chiacchierone. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And it's Italian word for chatterbox. And I was like, that's their Mercury and Sag. And so I crack up whenever we have a Mercury and Sag because we're all going to be feeling just like, like ideas, brain is lit up. But again, just invitation, not that you can't speak, no, you can't go out and have fun, but slow down and kind of find out, again, what are we learning in the listening? Mercury and Sag is very curious, right? So we're being open with that. And of course, grounding all that fire with movement is going to help us process and integrate what's coming up in a more sustainable and yummy way. So let's just keep the retrograde hits coming. Jupiter is stationing retrograde on 11/11 in Cancer. And to me, I have so much I could say about this transit. And you all know, if you've been here for a minute, I don't always give the biggest like airtime to outer planets when they go retrograde, because outer planets go retrograde every year, basically every 6 months, every 5 months, they stay there. They stay retrograde for half the year. And they tend to generally affect us a little bit less on the personal level than, say, a Mercury or Venus or Mars, because those are personal planets. They're closer to us. They affect us more in our day-to-day, our psyche, our drive, our actions. The outer planets affect more of the macro, the moment in time we're in, the moment in history, the moment in our society. But because 2025 and 2026 are such pivotal years with these outer planets, every outer planet has shifted, including the North Node in 2025, right? Like than it was in 2024 or for the past like 10, even 20 years before that. Some of these planets haven't moved signs and they all moved. So that's also why if you feel like life is moving crazy fast and that 2025 was a portal and your head is spinning, it's not you, babe, okay? It's also the planets. We are in unprecedented planetary times this past year, and we will land fully in that energy in 2026. And Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, I believe, has as a big part of the puzzle of what's going on. Jupiter in Cancer can amplify, good things and intense things. Jupiter in Cancer, unfortunately, can amplify senses of radical, nationalism, xenophobia, ethnocentrism. It's like Cancer, I must protect my home. But Jupiter in Cancer can also be the rise of the feminine, can be the rise of maternal, nurturing energy, taking care of one another, wanting to feed, protect one another. And I can say that 2025, we've seen like peak in both of this, right? And peak in both of these. And, Jupiter was crossing the ascendant of New York City when the election results were called. And it just felt so fitting. Anyways, and we also know Jupiter in Cancer, the United States is a Cancer. So everything is like amplified in all realms. Jupiter being the ruling planet of the United States too, because we're a Sag rising. So I'm pointing this out because I think we're all really feeling the Jupiter in Cancer of it. And like also to take care of each other, what do we have to do? We have to take care of ourselves first too, right? That's part of Jupiter in Cancer is like the mama energy of like, mama, you got to nourish and tend to your own roots if you're going to be providing all this shade and fruits and safety for those around you. So I want you to think about during this time, which is November 11th to March 10th, how can we like focus growth and inward? How can we turn inward to strengthen your emotional foundation? If you've been giving out a lot, maybe using this time, and it is kind of that perfect time of the year, the end of the year. I always say we're not doing a ton of new things. We're not pushing forward. We're reflecting, we're reviewing, and we're doing a lot of inner work to prepare us for the real rebirth that happens at the spring equinox, the kickoff to Aries season, March 21st. So Jupiter retrograde, can we say like, okay, what do I need to strengthen my emotional foundation? Where have I been not tending to myself or even betraying myself a little bit? How do I flip the script on that? I want you to think about redefining and questioning, like, success without safety is not success. So I want you to redefine and then realign yourself with a version of success where you feel safe, where you feel grounded, where you feel nourished to be yourself, to also enjoy your everyday life. And the same goes for relationships, right? Like a good relationship without feeling safe is not a good relationship. So figure out what needs to happen for you to feel safe. And that is always going to be your responsibility first and foremost. And then hopefully other people rise to meet you in that. But yeah, we're going to be having themes around security, family, roots, home, food, legacy, connecting with other women, tending to ourselves. Really like maybe things that had already come up at some point in the year are going to resurface for healing, for expansion. And I would love for you as some practical action steps, like maybe like do a little abundance audit on that vision board I mentioned before. Circle the goals that are going to bring you comfort, connection, and joy. Maybe like let the rest go for right now or put them on pause. I think about if Jupiter in Cancer feels like mama bear energy to me. One thing I really learned about becoming a mother of this past 2 years is just the prioritizing. Like you have to, right? But you have all these like little ones depending on you and your life splits off in more directions with more responsibilities. You literally like have to prioritize what's important and say no to so many things that as my over giving, people pleasing, but also just liking saying yes, a lot of things self like can't do now. So I encourage you to do that for yourself. Secondly, I would love for you to create a home sanctuary ritual, some kind of thing where you feel connected to your home in a way that makes you feel really safe, whether that's building an altar for your ancestors, an abundance altar, whether that's having like every Sunday you make a soup for yourself, right? Perfect time to do it, November to March, or a bedtime wind down ritual that actually sticks, that feels magical and romantic, right? Like good lighting on, essential oils, giving yourself a little massage, whatever feels good. Like what can you do before bed that's sustainable? I really want you to create a home sanctuary ritual so you could feel safe at home in the world. And then so you can feel safe in yourself in the world. I want you to research your roots if you can. And again, if you don't know your roots, if you aren't connected to your family of origin for one reason or another, you can research your cultural roots. But again, just this feeling of like, we didn't just arrive here by accident. We're part of something bigger. Maybe you are planning a trip to go somewhere where your family is from in 2026. Maybe you interview relatives. Maybe you watch a documentary based on people who come from your cultural lineage. Maybe you cook a recipe that someone made for you growing up. Like just connect into that root, like nourish that root chakra with real life things, actions. Okay. And then let me check my little ephemeris. The last little thing just to note for the week, Wednesday, November 12th, circle your calendar. This is going to be a day with fast moving words, actions, but you also might get inspiration. You might have an ability to make some shit happen. This is like Mercury's retrograde to be conjunct Mars in Sag. And so we might be feeling really inspired. Mars in Sag, Mercury in Sag is big dreamer, big visionary energy. But we want to look out for on this day, Mercury still retrograde. Do not actually leap before you look. Again, we're going to slow down our words, make sure we don't send the wrong text to the wrong person. And we also could know arguments could escalate quickly. That's why, again, I'm going to encourage you to listen more than you talk. Silence can be strategic, and silence can be actually one of the most badass ways to either win or navigate an argument or a power play. Mercury, Mars, and Sag too might just have a download about one of your visions or one of your dreams. You might realize, oh, maybe that's where I've been blocked, or that's why that thing didn't work out because it's supposed to go. That wouldn't have been the most aligned choice for me. This other way is better. So write just some things, some cosmic RX's prescriptions for that day. 10-second rule, breathe. Just take a 10-second breath before having to respond to anything and channel heat into motion. Again, I want you to think about working out, taking brisk walks, dancing it out, especially if we're feeling stuck. And I just want you to write pen and paper around you, pen and paper for notes, whether that's heat. You know, that feeling when you're pissed at someone, don't put it in your phone, put it on pen and paper, or it might be a download you have about, again, the vision, like I said from before. So that's where I'm going to leave you. And I just want to remind you that this is the time of the year that you are called to go through some kind of alchemical transformation. Alchemy is turning lead into gold. So if there's something that has felt heavy on you, if there's something that's felt heavy in your spirit, dense in your energy field, or like a part of you is lost, a part of you don't feel like yourself, this is the season, this is the cosmic calendar part of the year where you are being called to reflect, to integrate, to go through an emotional maybe excavation, but also renovation. If you want structure, if you want some guidance, some prompts, some astrological insight on how to do this, or just a friend for the journey, check out that shadow work mini course. Again, like we put this together because we wanted to have accessible ways for you to really create some big change for yourself in 5 days. And of course, you can come back to it as often as you want. But there are parts of you that have yet to be uncovered that are so beautiful, that are so magnetic, that are so creative, that are so powerful. And I am just excited for you to bring them into the party. And this is the time of year to do it. It is aligned, right? When we work with cosmic alignment, we can understand our divine assignment and who we are and what we're here to do, and that we're actually allowed to enjoy our life and have a fulfilling, fun, and free life. So that's where I'm going to leave you. Just placing a hand on your heart or on your belly. I opened, in trying to practice what I preach, take my own medicine, try to do this podcast today, a little bit more deep breaths, a little bit slowing down. I get very excited when I come on here. And so I'm just going to encourage you to take 3 big, deep breaths and just even like think to yourself, right? Like my truth is sacred. I'm at home in myself and I choose aligned action, and know that when I do that, I am too aligned to settle, too aligned to fail. And I am the bad bitch with a good heart that the world has been waiting for. My time is now. Okay. So with that, stay in your magic, babies. I will be sending you and wrapping you up in so much love, clenched teeth love, big hugs, and of course, blessings for big, fat, juicy checks and hot, fulfilling, mind-blowing, toe-curling sex. Until next week, mwah. Do you love getting your Cosmic RX for the week here and want more? Make sure to sign up for our premium subscription so you can get exclusive access to bonus podcast episodes, all of my astrology info for the month ahead, and live new and full moon calls to help you manifest your dream life with an intentional international community of other cosmic baddies. Sign up through our link in show notes.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to know more about Cosmic RX, head on over to thecosmicrx.com. And if you really love this show, I'd love it if you left a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. I super love hearing from you and reading your reviews. All right, you cosmic baddie, tune in next week. And until then, remember, love yourself fully, work your magic, and take no shit.